the human who changed everything. The jungle welcomed them back with silence. No birds, no wind, no whispers. Only the sound of footsteps, one human, one alien, walking side by side on muddy ground. Eli and Sira reached the edge of the village just as the sky turned gold. Morning light touched the tops of the trees and smoke from cooking fires curled into the air. The scent of roasted roots and fruit drifted between huts. But when the villagers saw Eli, they stopped. Eyes widened. Voices hushed. A human had returned with one of their own. Sira stepped forward, her voice clear. "We come with truth." Eli held up the stone crystal from the ruins. The star echo. "I found your past," he said, looking around at all the women staring. "And it turns out, it's part of mine too." Inside the sacred circle, the matriarch waited. Her back was straight. Her eyes were calm. Sira and Eli approached and kneeled. "We saw it," Sira said. "The ruins. The hybrid woman. The truth." The matriarch reached out and touched the crystal. It glowed. And then, above the circle, the hologram returned. "We were one, meant to build together, meant to carry peace. But fear separated us. Now, if you're listening, choose again. Do not repeat our mistake." The image vanished into the morning air. No one spoke, until a small girl from the crowd walked forward, barefoot, with big eyes, and touched Eli's hand. "You're not scary," she whispered. Then another child joined her, and another. The warriors watched. Mothers watched. Then slowly some women lowered their weapons. The matriarch stood. "For years I believed survival meant silence, isolation, but perhaps survival also means listening." She turned to Sira. "You did not betray us, child, you reminded us." To Eli she bowed her head. "Human, you were not born of our world, but you may help heal it." As the village returned to life, Eli helped. Repair huts. He taught some children how to build fire with stones. In turn, he learned how to climb the jungle trees, how to call the bright birds, how to cook with roots that glowed at night. The people began to laugh again. Sira sat beside him under the great sun tree, watching him teach 3 children how to make spinning toys from vines. "You know," she said, smiling, "you're better with our younglings than some of our own warriors." "I guess I always wanted a big family," Eli joked. She smiled wider, but then her face turned soft. "I never thought I'd say this to a man," she said, "but I'm glad you fell from the sky." He looked at her. "I'm glad you caught me." They sat in silence for a moment. Then he asked quietly, "What happened to Yulna?" Sira's smile faded. "She followed us to the ruins, but the jungle chose to deal with her. We found no body, just her blade broken. Do you think she'll come back?" Sira looked to the trees. "No," she said. "And if she does, the tribe is no longer blind." That evening, a ceremony was held. All the tribe gathered. A fire roared in the center. The matriarch stood before everyone and raised her hands. "Today, we welcome a new voice among us. One who brought the truth not with weapons but with courage, kindness, and patience." She looked at Eli. "You are not our ruler. You are not our savior. You are something better. You are one of us." The tribe cheered, and then the matriarch turned to Sira. "And you, Sira, warrior, protector, heart of the tribe, what is your wish?" Sira stepped forward. She looked at Eli. "I choose a path not of war but of hope. Not alone, but together." She reached out her hand. "Eli Walker, will you stay? Not as a stranger, not as a guest, but as family?" His voice broke slightly as he answered, "Yes." He took her hand. The tribe cheered again, louder. That night, under the stars, as the fires died and the children slept, Eli and Sira sat together on the highest tree ledge. Below them, the village glowed with peace. Above them, the stars twinkled. Silent witnesses. "You know," Eli said, "this started as the worst crash of my life." Sira leaned her head on. His shoulder, and now, she asked. He smiled. Now I think it was the best thing that ever happened to me. The end. Revolt in the tribe. The sky was still dark when Yolna returned to the village. Her face was hard. Her hands were stained with dirt and rage. Sira had betrayed the tribe. She had chosen a male over her sisters. The matriarch had gone silent, and now Yolna would rise. By sunrise, the air smelled of smoke. Yolna stood in the middle of the village square, her blade planted deep into the ground. Around her, over a dozen warriors stood, some loyal to her, others simply too scared to speak. The matriarch is weak, Yolna shouted. She protects the outsider, and now Sira has vanished with him. Gasps echoed across the gathering. Mothers pulled their children close. Elders looked at one another uncertain. She calls him our future, Yolna continued. But I remember the past. Males destroyed our peace. They fought, they stole, they killed, and now? She invites one. Into our home? She pulled a burned piece of fruit from her satchel. This was found near the sacred wall. They were there last night, touching our history, twisting our roots. I say enough. Cries of enough rose with her. We take the circle. We name a new matriarch. But the laws in, one elder began. Yolna cut her off. Laws are for the strong to protect. The weak only hide behind them. Far away, near the river's edge, Eli limped alone. Leaves stuck to his clothes. His hands were scratched and muddy. The warrior necklace Sira had tied on his wrist still glowed faintly. He didn't know where he was going. He didn't even know if Sira had survived. But he kept walking until he found something. At the edge of a cliff, the trees opened up, and before him stood a ruin. Huge, broken towers, long metal bones, and shattered glass domes reaching to the sky. He walked closer. The place looked human. Inside, old lights blinked. A broken screen flickered. Words scrolled across in faded English. Colony Project 12. Abandoned. Eli's heart pounded. This was an old Earth outpost, maybe hundreds of years old, maybe lost during the first waves of galactic travel. He wasn't the first human here, but maybe he was the last. Back at the village, the rebellion had begun. The matriarch stood at the high stone, her cane held tightly in her hands. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were fire. You raise weapons against your own blood, Yolna. I raise truth, Yolna snapped. You are blind, and now so is Sira. I name myself protector of the tribe, and I name you. Finished. The warriors behind Yolna stepped forward, but then others moved too. Some older women, some mothers, even one young girl, barely a teen, stood beside the matriarch. You forget, the matriarch said softly. This tribe does not belong to fear. It belongs to balance, Yolna's blade flashed. I don't fear balance, I destroy it. And she lunged. The matriarch did not flinch, but before the blade could strike, Sira's voice rang out. Stop. All turned. She stood at the edge of the square, clothes torn, bruises on her arms, but alive. In her hand, she held the star Echo, glowing brightly. Yolna stared. You dare return? I return with truth, Sira said. And I return with memory. She pressed the crystal to her chest. The voice of the ancestors echoed once again. When human and alien stood together, the stars opened, but fear divided them. One day one will return, not to rule, not to take, but to remind. Sira stepped forward. You hate him, Yolna, but you don't even know him. He is male, Yolna hissed. That's all I need. No, Sira said. You need healing, not war. And then she did something no one expected. She kneeled before the matriarch. I ask forgiveness for leaving, but not for loving the truth. The matriarch touched her head gently. You are forgiven, child. Yolna raised her blade again. Curious, but this time she was alone. No one moved behind her, no one shouted her name. She looked around, eyes wide. You fools! She turned and ran, into the trees, into the jungle's dark arms. The tribe let her go. That night, peace returned. The fires were gentle again, and in the shadows, the matriarch leaned on Sira's shoulder. "You must find him," she said. Sira nodded, and with a pack on her back, a staff in hand and the stars above her, she walked into the forest to find the man who fell from the sky, the escape and the storm. The clouds above the jungle turned black. Lightning cracked across the sky, and thunder followed like a war drum. The leaves danced wildly, trees groaned. The storm had arrived. Eli stood inside the ruins of the old human outpost. Rain poured through the cracks in the shattered roof, soaking the dusty metal floor. His hands trembled, not from fear, but from what he had just discovered. A broken monitor flickered in front of him. A single line blinked on the screen. Genetic, link matched, compatibility, 99.6%. He had scanned his hand on a damaged console just to test it. He didn't expect the system to still work. He didn't expect it to know him. Compatible? He whispered. With what? His voice echoed into the dark. Behind the wall of vines, deeper in the ruin, something hummed. Something alive. He followed, the sound limping cautious into a hidden chamber. Inside stood a tall pod half covered in moss and dirt. The glass was cracked and wires spilled from its side. On the front was an old Earth emblem, and beneath it, alien symbols, human tech, alien language, a forgotten union. He stepped closer, and the pod responded. The screen lit up. Hybrid memory. Unit locked, human DNA required. Before he could touch it again, the ground shook. The storm had worsened. Then, a voice called out behind him, "Eli." He turned. There she was. Sira, soaked with rain, leaves in her braids, eyes wild with worry and relief. She ran to him and wrapped her arms around his chest. He held her tightly. "You found me," he whispered. "I had to." Minutes later, inside the driest corner of the ruin, they sat together beside a small fire made from broken wires and dry jungle bark. The storm roared outside, but for now they were safe. "I tried to follow the river like you said," Eli said, "but I found this place instead. It's old, forgotten, but I think it remembers me." Sira looked around. "This was your kind's home?" He nodded. "A long time ago. Maybe even before the war that broke your people." Sira traced the wall with her fingers. "So, our paths were always connected?" "Yes," Eli said softly. "Someone just wanted us to forget." Sira took off her belt pouch and pulled out a small stone. "The matriarch sent this. She said if we ever found where the truth sleep, and this would wake it." Eli took the stone. The pod beeped again. The screen flashed. Link confirmed. A light poured from the pod and formed a hologram. A woman. Appeared human face, but her eyes were alien. Beautiful and calm, she spoke in a voice that shook the air with emotion. "If you're seeing this, then the bridge has been found again. We were one people once, joined not by blood but by purpose. Our children were meant to carry stars inside them. But fear broke what love built. You are the last hope of that union." The light faded. Eli looked at Sira. "I think that woman was one of us. Both of us." Sira touched her chest. "She looked like the women in our oldest dreams. The first matriarch, maybe." Eli stood up. "Then we have to go back, show them all. They deserve the truth." Sira hesitated. "There's something else," she said. "Yolna tried to take over. She failed. But she escaped into the forest. She still believes you're a threat." Eli looked out at the storm. "I don't want to fight her, but I won't hide either." Sira smiled gently. "Then let us walk back together. As one." The next morning, the storm passed. The jungle was wet, quiet, and full of light again. Eli and Sira walked side by side, through the tall grass back toward the village. But they weren't alone. In the trees above, Yolna watched. She had followed Sira. She had seen the ruins. She had heard just enough of the truth, and it terrified her. If that human unites with us, she whispered to herself, then everything changes. The old world dies. My world dies. She raised her bow, an arrow aimed at Eli's heart. She pulled the string, then froze. Something big moved behind her. A growl, low, wet, hungry. She turned. Too late. Back on the path, Sira stopped walking. What is it? Eli asked. She looked back. The jungle is quiet again. The secrets of the matriarch. The village was quiet now. The fire had died. The beast was gone. But something else had awakened. Inside her private tent, the matriarch sat alone, eyes closed, hands resting on an ancient stone tablet. Symbols glowed, faintly across its surface, symbols older than the tribe itself. They pulsed slowly, as if breathing. Outside, the alien night howled. She whispered to the tablet. He came, like the old stars said he would. A small door creaked open. Sira stepped in. You called me, matriarch? The elder woman nodded. Come, child, sit. We must talk about the man. Sira sat beside her, nervous. Eli is not like the stories. No, the matriarch said. He is not. The old woman placed her palm on the tablet. It glowed brighter. Images floated in the air, moving pictures, old and full of light. They showed ships, planets, humans. Long ago, she said, our kind lived beside his. Your great-grandmothers knew their faces, before the war, before the virus. Sira gasped. You knew about his kind? Yes. But we buried the truth. When the disease took our males, we said they were cursed, that the stars punished us, but the truth is older and more dangerous. What truth? Sira asked. The matriarch's voice dropped. Our people were not meant to survive alone. The sickness came from outside. Someone wanted our males gone. It was not fate. It was control. Who? Sira asked. I do not know, the matriarch whispered. But they feared what would happen if our kind and his were joined again. Across the village, Eli sat by a fire, holding his leg gently. Some of the alien women brought him food. Strange. Fruits and warm broth. They didn't speak much, only watched him with wide eyes. He felt like an animal in a zoo. But one woman stayed close. Sira. She sat beside him, slowly eating. Her movements were careful, as if learning to be near him. The silence between them wasn't cold. It was curious. You okay? She asked. Eli nodded. Yeah, just sore. Sira touched his wrist. You are brave. And stupid. He laughed. Thanks, I guess. She looked at the stars. I wonder what your sky looks like. He followed her gaze. It's blue, clear. Sometimes full of planes and birds, sometimes just quiet. They stayed like that for a while. Two people from different worlds under the same alien sky. But not everyone was at peace. In the shadows of the jungle, Yulna, the angry warrior, knelt before a twisted tree. Around her were broken pieces of armor, cracked bones, and the skull of an old male alien. She whispered, The matriarch grows weak. The young one is lost. But I see clearly. She placed her hand on the skull. The males brought war. The males brought ruin. Now one has returned. And they would let him live. She stood and raised her blade. I will not. Back in the matriarch's tent, the old woman gave Sira a glowing crystal. This is called a star echo. It remembers voices from long ago. She handed it to Sira. When the time comes, give it to him. Why not now? Sira asked. Because truth is dangerous. When given too early, let his actions show if he is worthy. Suddenly a loud noise echoed outside, a drum, then another. The matriarch stood. That's a war drum. Sira rushed out of the tent. Across the village, a fire burned near the sacred tree. Warriors gathered. Yulna stood at the center, blade drawn, her voice loud and sharp. We were attacked because of him, she shouted. The beast smelled him. He is not a gift, he is a curse, the tribe murmured. He is one man, someone said. One is enough to break us, Yulna barked. Our past is proof. I say we vote, banish him or face ruin. Eyes turned to the matriarch as she stepped forward, slow but strong. There will be no vote, she said. The man is not our enemy. He is our chance. Yulna laughed bitterly. You grow soft, old one. Sira stepped forward, chest high. You speak of strength, Yulna. But Eli faced the beast when you hid. Yulna's eyes burned. Do you defend him, Sira? I do. Then you betray your sisters. The crowd gasped. The matriarch raised her hand. Enough. No more tonight. We speak again at sunrise. But in Yulna's eyes it was clear. She would not wait for the sun. Later, in the quiet of his hut, Eli lay back and stared at the ceiling. He could feel it. Change was coming. Something bigger than him. Outside, Sira pressed the glowing crystal to her chest. She wasn't sure yet if Eli was their future, or their doom, an unexpected bond. The air was heavy with tension. No drums beat, no songs echoed. The alien village was silent like a breath held too long. Even the sky seemed darker. Eli sat outside the small hut they gave him. His leg felt better, now thanks to the leaves and careful hands of Sira. But something inside him twisted. He could feel it. He was not welcome anymore. The memory of Yulna's voice still rang in his ears. He's a curse. He had only tried to help. He didn't want to be a threat. He didn't want to be feared. He just wanted to understand. Sira watched from the shadows. She had followed him again. Not because she was told, but because she wanted to. She had never felt this strange pull before. It wasn't fear. It wasn't duty. It was something warmer. She stepped out of the shadows and walked up to him. Eli looked up. He smiled, tired. You shouldn't be here, he said softly. Sira sat beside him. Then why are you smiling? He looked down. Because you're the only one who sees me as me. Sira tilted her head. You are not like our males. You do not bark. You do not strike. You listen. Eli chuckled. Well, I never learned how to bark. Sira stared at the stars above them. My people are scared of change. For too long we lived in silence. For too long we believed the stars had left us. Maybe, Eli whispered. I didn't fall here by mistake. She turned to him. Then why are you here? Eli shrugged. Maybe to show you not every man is cruel. Sira was quiet. Then she reached into her belt and pulled out the glowing crystal, the star echo. This is from the matriarch, she said, but I give it to you now. You have earned it. Eli took it, confused. What is it? Press it to your heart. He did. And suddenly a soft voice filled the air. Female, but not Sira's. Older, wiser. To the one who hears this, you are the key. The blood of stars runs through your kind and mine. Together we once built bridges between galaxies. Now we are ash and dust. But if you have found your way back to us, maybe the future can begin again. The voice faded. Eli's eyes widened. What was that? Sira said quietly. Our real history, hidden by fear, now passed to you. Far away, Yulna sharpened her blade under moonlight. Her loyal warriors stood beside her. Not many, just enough. We strike before sunrise, she hissed. We take him, we cast him out. If Sira resists, we cast her out too. Are you sure? One warrior asked. Yulna's eyes burned like fire. We cannot let our tribe fall to softness. One male is enough to break our world. Back at the village, Sira led Eli deep into the jungle. Where are we going? He asked. To the place of memory, she answered. After a long walk, they reached a giant stone wall covered in old carvings. It was the forgotten temple. Long vines covered it, but beneath the moss were drawings, images of human and alien, hands together building cities, planting trees, flying ships. Eli ran his fingers over them. It's real, he whispered. We were Friends once. Sierra nodded. Maybe we can be again. Then she took his hand. It was warm. For a moment they just stood there, alien and human, hand in hand like the carvings. But the moment broke. From behind them, leaves rustled. Feet approached, voices shouted. "Yolna!" Sierra hissed. "Run!" They ran through the jungle. Eli's leg still hurt, but adrenaline pushed him forward. Branches whipped past. Sierra pulled him behind trees, over roots, across glowing ponds. "They're hunting us?" he asked, panting. "Yes. You must leave the village. You must escape tonight." "But where will I go?" Sierra stopped and turned to him. She pulled off her necklace, a rare symbol only warriors carried, and tied it around his wrist. "Follow the river," she said. "It will lead you to the edge of our land. Beyond that, you will find the mountains and maybe answers." He looked at her. "What about you?" Sierra touched his chest. "I will return when I can, but if they catch us now, you will not see another dawn." Suddenly a shout. "There they are." Eli turned. Sierra stepped between him and the warriors. "Go," she shouted. Eli ran into the trees. He didn't look back. The jungle swallowed him. Behind him, the shouts faded, but the sound of Sierra's voice stayed with him. "I will return." And deep in the forest, alone once again, Eli whispered to the sky, "I'll wait." The human who fell from the sky. The sky was dark. Clouds rolled like angry waves. Thunder cracked above the trees of the alien planet. Suddenly, a bright light cut through the clouds. A small ship falling fast, smoke trailing behind it. The ship spun, hit the ground hard, and slid across the jungle floor, breaking trees and shaking the earth. Inside the ship, the human pilot groaned. His name was Eli Walker. Blood ran down his forehead. The crash had knocked him out. The control panel sparked and blinked. Nothing worked. His ship was dead, and he was alone, on an unknown planet. When Eli woke up, everything was quiet. No alarms, no voices, just the sound of strange birds and wind through the trees. His suit was torn. One leg hurt badly, maybe sprained. He limped out of the ship. The air was clean but heavy. Purple trees reached high into the sky, glowing slightly under the cloudy sun. "I'm not on Earth anymore," he whispered. Eli grabbed his small survival pack and walked. He needed water, shelter, and maybe help. His radio was useless. No signal, only static. He didn't know if this world had people or monsters. Hours passed. He followed a small stream, hoping it would lead somewhere. Then he heard something strange. Whispers. They were soft, high-pitched. He looked around but saw nothing. Still, the sound followed him. He walked faster. The whispers grew louder. Snap. Twig broke behind him. He turned fast. No one. But he wasn't alone. Hidden in the trees, they watched him. Tall, thin figures, eyes glowing faint blue, skin dark like polished stone, long hair braided with beads and feathers. All were women. The alien tribe had seen the fire fall from the sky. They had come to find what it was. They hadn't seen a man in over 50 years. Their men were gone, killed, in a war long ago. The tribe had survived with only women. They had become warriors, hunters, and mothers on their own. Now, one man had fallen from the stars. They called him the Sky Mark. One younger warrior, named Sierra, stared at Eli from behind a large tree. Her heart raced. She had never seen a man before, not even in pictures. She felt fear and something else. Eli moved again, limping toward a small clearing. Suddenly, vines whipped up from the ground. A trap. His foot caught, and he was pulled into the air, hanging upside down. He shouted in pain and fear. Within seconds, the alien women surrounded him, spears aimed, eyes cold, faces curious. One stepped forward. She wore a crown made of silver leaves. The matriarch. He is a male, she said in their ancient tongue. Eli dangled, confused and scared. Wait, what is this? I'm not here to fight. Of course they didn't understand him. He's weak, one warrior said. He could be dangerous, said another. No, the matriarch said. He is alone. He bleeds. He fell from the sky. He is ours now. They cut the vines and let him drop. Eli hit the ground with a grunt. 2 warriors grabbed him. Sira came closer, staring at his face. She touched his cheek softly. He flinched, but she smiled. He's warm, she said. The matriarch ordered them to take him to the village. Eli was dragged through the jungle, confused and tired. He didn't fight. There were too many of them. He saw homes built into trees, fires burning in stone pits, and alien children playing with glowing sticks. Everyone stopped and stared at him. The human, the male. They locked him inside a wooden cage. Sira stayed outside, watching him closely. Eli sat against the wall and looked at her. Why are you doing this? Sira didn't reply, but after a while she slid a bowl of water into the cage. He drank it fast. He was starving, but she gave him no food. Night fell. In the shadows, the women gathered. Some wanted to kill him. Others believed he was a sign from the stars, a gift, a chance, to bring change to their fading tribe. The matriarch stood up. We wait, she said. He will speak. He will prove who he is. If he is truly sent from the sky, then he must carry a purpose. And far from the cage, in the dark trees, another pair of eyes watched. Not human, not tribal. Something else had seen the fire fall, and it was hungry. Captured by the forgotten tribe, Eli sat on the wooden floor of the cage. His head hurt, his ankle was swollen, and hunger twisted in his belly. The soft glow of alien fire lit the strange village. Women moved like shadows between the trees, whispering and watching him. It felt like a dream, or maybe a nightmare. But the pain in his body told him it was real. Outside the cage, one alien woman stood guard. Sira, the curious warrior, still stared at him with quiet wonder. Her spear rested across her lap, but her eyes never left his face. She had never seen a man before. None of them had. The last males of their kind had died before she was born. Sira's fingers gripped her necklace, carved from the bones of an old sky beast. Her heart beat faster than she wanted. Who was this man? Why did he fall from the sky? And why did she feel drawn to him? She didn't have the answers. Inside the matriarch's chamber, the oldest women of the tribe met in secret. Torches crackled. Faces were tense. Why is he here? One growled. We don't need males, another snapped. We survived without them. But our numbers are dying, said a third. Our daughters are fewer each season. Maybe this is a test or a gift. The matriarch said nothing for a long moment. Then she spoke in a quiet voice. He will stay until we learn the truth. If he is a curse, we end him. If he is a sign, then we listen. That night, as stars filled the alien sky, Eli heard a soft noise, scratching. He looked around the cage. Then he saw her. Sira was crouched outside, using a small, sharp stone to loosen the wooden lock. Hey, Eli whispered. What are you doing? She raised a finger. Quiet. He stayed still, confused. Her eyes were serious. She opened the door slightly, just enough to whisper through. Come. He hesitated. Come, she repeated. He followed. Limping, weak, he followed her past the glowing trees. No one saw them. The air smelled sweet, full of strange flowers. Finally, she led him to a small cave behind a waterfall. The water sparkled under the moonlight. Inside there were herbs, cloths, and a pile of dried fruit. She pointed to his leg and motioned for him to sit. You help? He asked. She nodded. Sira, he pointed at himself. Eli. She smiled. Using gentle hands, Sira wrapped his leg with soft leaves soaked in medicine. It stung, but Eli didn't cry out. He stared at her face, strange and beautiful. Her skin shimmered like obsidian under the moon. Her hair was thick, braided with green beads. "No hurt?" she asked, pointing to the cage. He shook his head. "No, scared. But okay." She leaned back. "You not like old ones?" "Old ones." She pointed at a mural painted on the cave wall. It showed alien males, angry and cruel, holding weapons, yelling. The females were smaller in the painting. "Bowing or hiding, our past," she said. "Long ago, males, not kind." Eli frowned. "I'm not them." Sierra tilted her head. "You... different?" "Yes." She nodded slowly. "Maybe." Suddenly a deep roar echoed through the jungle. Both froze. Then came another sound. Screams. Sierra jumped to her feet. "Village! They..." rushed back. Eli limped behind her. When they reached the edge of the trees, they saw chaos. Fires burned. Women ran, yelling and throwing spears. A beast had entered the village, huge, covered in spikes, glowing red eyes. A predator from the far mountains. It had smelled the blood of the human. Now it wanted more. "Stay," Sierra said, but Eli didn't listen. He picked up a fallen spear and ran into the village. He couldn't let these people die, not for him. The beast snarled and turned. It saw him. Charged. Sierra screamed, "Eli!" He stood his ground. His leg shook. The spear felt heavy. The beast leaped. Eli threw the spear. It hit the beast's eye. The creature roared and fell, crashing into a hut. The women ran forward and stabbed it with glowing blades. Blood poured across the ground. At last, the beast was dead. Eli collapsed. Sierra rushed to him, pulling him close. "Foolish," she said. "Brave, but foolish." He smiled weakly. "You're welcome." Behind them, the matriarch stepped out of the shadows. She had seen everything. That night, Eli was no longer a prisoner. He was a guest, but not everyone was happy. Far away, in the outer edge of the jungle, a jealous warrior named Yulna sharpened her blade. She had seen Sierra help him. She had seen the matriarch's soft eyes and she hated it. "No male will control us again," she whispered.